In recent years, Sweden has stood at the crossroads of change, responding to a rapidly shifting global landscape and the evolving dynamics of migration. As one of Europe's most progressive nations, Sweden has long been recognized for its humanitarian approach, a commitment to openness, and an inclusive vision that has welcomed thousands seeking refuge, opportunity, and a new beginning. Yet, as the world grows more interconnected, so too do the complexities of safeguarding national security, ensuring social cohesion, and balancing the rights and responsibilities of those who wish to become citizens. Against this backdrop, the Swedish Migration Agency has embarked on a new chapter, strengthening the security protocols embedded within its citizenship application process. This transformation is not merely administrative. It is a reflection of a deep-seated desire to protect the integrity of citizenship, to ensure that those who attain it embody the values and responsibilities it carries, and to address legitimate concerns about security in a turbulent era. The new measures mark a significant shift. At the heart of these changes lies a multi-layered approach designed to leave no stone unturned in the assessment of each applicant. The agency now requires in-person identity verification for all citizenship candidates. Gone are the days when paperwork alone could suffice. Applicants must now present themselves physically before migration officials. This step, while seemingly straightforward, is a powerful tool in preventing identity fraud, verifying the authenticity of documents, and assessing an applicant's story through direct interaction. It is a measure rooted in the recognition that trust is built face-to-face, that the nuances of a person's background and intent are best understood in person. Alongside this, the Swedish Migration Agency has introduced comprehensive background checks. These checks extend far beyond the basic criminal record reviews of the past. Today, officials meticulously examine each applicant's career history, family details, and travel records. The aim is not simply to uncover past misdeeds, but to construct a holistic picture of the individual's life, affiliations, and movements across borders. In an age when threats to security can manifest in myriad ways, such diligence is considered essential. Every job held, every country visited, every connection maintained. These details are scrutinized to ensure that no potential risk is overlooked. One of the most debated aspects of the agency's new security strategy is the proposal to extend the residence requirement. Traditionally, those seeking Swedish citizenship were required to have lived in the country for 5 years. Now, authorities are considering an extension of this period to 8 years. The rationale is clear. A longer residence allows for a more thorough integration of the applicant into Swedish society, provides more time for authorities to observe conduct and character, and reduces the risk of individuals seeking citizenship solely for convenience or evasion. However, this change has not come without controversy. Critics argue that it introduces new barriers, potentially delaying the aspirations of those who have already demonstrated commitment to Sweden. Further augmenting these security enhancements is the consideration of a civic test. This proposed assessment would require applicants to demonstrate an understanding of Swedish culture, history, laws, and values. The goal is to ensure that new citizens not only respect, but also actively embrace the social fabric of the nation. For some, the civic test represents a meaningful way to foster integration, affirming that citizenship is more than a legal status. It is a shared identity. Yet for others, it raises concerns about fairness, accessibility, and the risk of cultural gatekeeping. The numbers speak to the impact of these changes. In 2023, the agency reported approximately 756 rejected citizenship applications, and by 2024, the figure stood at 543. These numbers represent a marked increase compared to previous years, underscoring the tangible effects of stricter scrutiny. Each rejection is not merely an administrative outcome. It is the culmination of a process that weighs the balance between openness and caution, opportunity and security. Migration Minister Johan Forsell has been forthright about the intentions behind these measures. He emphasizes the need for oral investigations, conducted more frequently, to probe deeper into applicants' backgrounds and intentions. These investigations are designed to supplement written documentation, allowing officials to ask probing questions, clarify inconsistencies, and gauge the sincerity of applicants' responses. The process is more rigorous, more personal, and, some would argue, more humane, allowing for the human story behind each application to be heard and evaluated. Yet, as with any significant policy shift, the tightening of security in the citizenship process has ignited debate across Swedish society. Proponents argue that these measures are not only prudent but necessary. In a world where borders are porous and threats are increasingly sophisticated, the responsibility to protect the nation and its citizens cannot be taken lightly. The integrity of Swedish citizenship, they say, must be preserved for those who are genuinely committed to its values. On the other hand, critics caution that such measures risk undermining the very ethos that has made Sweden a beacon of inclusivity. They point to the extended residence requirement as a hurdle that could disproportionately impact vulnerable groups, refugees, stateless individuals, and those fleeing persecution. For these individuals, the path to citizenship is not merely a legal journey, but a lifeline to safety, stability, and belonging. Delaying their access to citizenship, critics argue, may hinder integration, foster uncertainty, and inadvertently create divisions within society. The proposed civic test, too, has drawn scrutiny. While the intention is to ensure a shared understanding of Swedish society, there are those who worry it could become a barrier for applicants with limited formal education, language skills, or access to preparatory resources. The challenge, then, is to design a test that is both meaningful and fair, one that measures genuine engagement without excluding those who, by virtue of circumstance, may struggle with standardized assessments. Amidst these debates, it is important to remember the human stories at the heart of the citizenship process. Behind every application is a person, someone who has left behind the familiar, who has navigated uncertainty, and who has chosen to build a new life in Sweden. For many, the pursuit of citizenship is an act of hope, a testament to their belief in the values that Sweden represents. The challenge for policymakers is to honor these stories while safeguarding the collective good. The strengthened security measures also have broader implications for the fabric of Swedish society. Citizenship is more than a legal status. It is a cornerstone of democratic participation, social cohesion, and national identity. By raising the bar for naturalization, Sweden signals its commitment to ensuring that citizenship is valued and meaningful. At the same time, it must remain vigilant against the risk of creating a two-tier society where some are perpetually outsiders, unable to fully participate in the civic life of the nation. For those navigating the new process, the journey to citizenship has become more demanding. Applicants must be prepared for in-person interviews, ready to present comprehensive documentation, and willing to engage with authorities in a process that is both rigorous and, at times, deeply personal. The experience can be daunting, but for many, it is a small price to pay for the promise of belonging, security, and the rights that citizenship confers. It is also worth reflecting on the broader European context. Across the continent, nations are grappling with similar questions: how to balance openness with security, how to foster integration without compromising on core values. Sweden's approach, while distinctive, is part of a wider trend towards tightening naturalization criteria, emphasizing integration, and prioritizing national security. The choices made by Sweden today are likely to resonate far beyond its borders, shaping debates and policies across Europe. One of the enduring questions is whether these enhanced security measures will achieve their intended goals. Will they succeed in preventing those who pose a threat from gaining citizenship? Will they encourage greater integration and commitment to Swedish values among new citizens? Or will they, as some fear, create new barriers, stoke resentment, and undermine the very ideals they seek to protect? Only time will tell. What is clear, however, is that the Swedish Migration Agency's strengthened security protocols reflect a nation in search of balance. A balance between welcome and vigilance, between opportunity and responsibility, between the rights of individuals and the collective need for security. It is a conversation that is as much about values as it is about policy, as much about identity as it is about administration. As Sweden moves forward, the challenge will be to ensure that the process remains transparent, fair, and accessible, even as it grows more robust. The agency must continue to invest in training, resources, and oversight to ensure that decisions are made judiciously, that applicants are treated with dignity, and that the process remains free from discrimination or bias. It must also engage in ongoing dialogue with civil society, listening to the concerns of those most affected and adapting policies in response to evolving realities. For applicants, the path to citizenship may now be longer and more complex, but it remains open. The journey requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to engage with the process in good faith. For those who succeed, the reward is not only a passport, but a place in a society that values participation, equality, and the rule of law. For Sweden, the strengthened security measures are both a statement and a promise, a statement of the nation's commitment to safeguarding its future, and a promise to those who seek to join that future as equal partners. It is a delicate balance, fraught with challenges, but grounded in the belief that citizenship is a privilege to be cherished, a bond to be respected, and a foundation on which to build a stronger, more resilient society. As the world continues to change, so too will the policies and practices that govern who may become Swedish. The journey will not always be easy, and the debates will not always be comfortable. But in striving to strengthen security while upholding the principles of fairness and inclusion, Sweden affirms its identity as a nation that values both safety and solidarity, both vigilance and compassion. In the final analysis, the story of strengthened security in the citizenship process is a microcosm of Sweden's larger journey, a journey towards a society that is open yet secure, inclusive yet discerning, proud of its heritage yet welcoming of new voices. It is a story that is still being written, shaped by the choices of policymakers, the experiences of applicants, and the values that bind the nation together. As the Swedish Migration Agency continues to refine and implement its new protocols, the eyes of the world will be watching. For in these decisions lie lessons not only for Sweden, but for all nations grappling with the challenges and opportunities of migration in the 21st century. The hope, ultimately, is that by strengthening security, Sweden will also strengthen the bonds of citizenship, ensuring that all who call it home may do so with pride, security, and a shared sense of belonging.